Hi, welcome to the session. This is the module 1, unit 2, Introduction to Engineering Mechanics. I am Sunil HG, working as assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering in Sai Vidya Institute of Technology. Before going into the syllabus, let us know what do you mean by mechanics and engineering mechanics. What is mechanics? Mechanics is the study of the bodies which are at rest or in motion. Study of the bodies which are at rest or in motion known as the mechanics. Then what do you mean by engineering mechanics? Engineering mechanics deals with application of laws of the mechanics to solve the field problems known as engineering mechanics. If you come to the contents or syllabus, it includes the basic concepts of idealizations like particle, continuum and rigid body in mechanics, force and system of forces, basic principles of mechanics like physical independence, superposition and transmissibility of forces, Newton's laws of motion, law of parallelogram and polygonal law of forces, resolution and composition of forces, resultant of coplanar concurrent force system, moment of forces and couple, Varignan's theorem, resultant of coplanar non-concurrent force system. The contents highlighted in green color contains derivation. The contents highlighted in red color contains numericals. Let's begin the syllabus. The first concept, basic concepts of idealization. What do you mean by idealization? Sometimes in order to solve the field problems easily, we are going to make some assumptions, but which is not real. That assumptions made to easily solve the problems, to make our problems easy, is known as idealization. In mechanics, we have made three assumptions or idealization. In that first one, particle. What do you mean by particle? In general, it can be defined as anything which has mass but no size will be treated as particle in the mechanics. The example for idealization is aeroplane in its trajectory. We know that aeroplane is of big size, but when we compare that aeroplane with respect to its path or the trajectory, we consider aeroplane as a particle. So that will be the first idealization in mechanics. The second one is continuum. In generally, we define that one as a continuous distribution of matter without any voids or gaps is known as continuum or continuum concept. The example for idealization is our skin surface. In the biology, we studied that our skin surface consisting of minute pores are the voids. But in order to make the problem easy, in order to solve the problem easily, we assume that our skin surface is a continuous distribution of matter without any gaps or voids or pores. So that concept is known as the continuum concept. That concept is rigid body. We define that one as a body in which relative positions of the particles will not change even after the application of external forces. Example for idealization is any hard material will be treated as a rigid body. Just for an example, consider a irregular body. In that, consider 2 points. Let the relative position between 2 points will be 5 mm. Now let us apply the forces on it. Even after the application of several forces, if the relative position between the two particles remains the same, then we treat that body as rigid body. So let's move on to the next content. Force and system of forces. What do you mean by force? In simple words, we can say a push or a pull of a body, we call that one as a force. In actually, we can define that one as it's an external agency which causes the changes in state of the body. External agency causes changes in the state of the body. State of the body means the body at rest or the body in motion. Just for an example, initially the ball is at rest. When the player kicks the ball, it will come to motion. So, here the ball will be the body and the player or the leg of the player will act as external agency. The external agency causes the body which is at rest to motion. So, that particular external agency we call that one as a force. What do you mean by system of forces? Or we can also call that one as a force system. A system means several or group. A group of forces or several forces, we call that one as system of forces. If we come to the classification, the force system is broadly classified into coplanar, non-coplanar. In coplanar, again it is classified into collinear, concurrent, parallel and general, that is non-concurrent, non-parallel. Parallel is further classified into like and unlike parallel forces. In non-coplanar, it is classified into concurrent, parallel and general. What do you mean by force system? If several forces acts simultaneously on a body, we call that one as force system. What is coplanar? If all the forces are acting on the same plane, we call that one as coplanar force system. Non-coplanar force system, if the forces are acting at different points on different planes, we call that one as, if the forces are acting on different planes, we call that one as non-coplanar force system. What do you mean by collinear? If all the forces are acting along the same line, Concurrent, all the forces meeting at a single point. Parallel, they are parallel to each other. Non-concurrent, non-parallel, nothing but the forces are acting at different points and they are not parallel to each other. Okay, in parallel we have like and unlike. What do you mean by like parallel forces? If the parallel forces are acting in the same direction, then we call that one as like parallel forces. If the parallel forces are acting in the opposite directions, then we call that one as unlike parallel forces. In non-coplanar also we come across concurrent, parallel and general. Okay. Next we will move on to the next content. Basic principles made in the mechanics. Here we have three principles of mechanics. The first one is principle of physical independence of forces. The name itself suggests the forces are physically independent. Actually, in the basic principles of mechanics, we are talking about the effect of the forces. So, principle of physical independence of forces states the effect of a force is independent of effect of all other forces acting on the same body. Effect of a force is independent of effect of all other forces acting on the same body. For example, if the force F1 acting on the body, if it causes the acceleration, some amount of acceleration, that acceleration will be the effect. The effect produced by this force, it does not depends upon the effect produced by other two forces acting on the same body. That independency we call that one as principle of physical independence of forces. Next we have principle of superposition of forces. Superposition name itself suggests it is combining or combination. It states the total effect produced by all the forces, is equal to sum of the effect produced by individual forces. The total effect due to total forces equal to sum of the effect due to individual forces. To understand this concept, let us consider a simply supported beam. Let two point forces are acting at A and B. And when the beam is subjected to the loads, it will bend. The vertical deflection at point A and B will be 8 mm and 10 mm. Now, let us consider only the 50 Newton load acting at point A. Now also the beam is going to bend, but the vertical deflections will be small. Let us assume it is 5 and 3 mm respectively at point A and B. Now let us consider another instance, that is, let us apply only the 80 Newton at point B. Now the vertical deflection is 3 mm and 7 mm. If you observe carefully, at point A, when the total load is applied, at point A we have the vertical deflection of 8 mm. When the individual loads are applied, we have the vertical deflection of 5 and 3 mm. Therefore, 8 equal to 5 plus 3, we can write that one. So, what does it tells us means, the total effect produced by all the forces is equal to sum of the effect produced by the individual forces. Next, we have principle of transmissibility of forces. Transmissibility is nothing but transfer. So it states the effect of a force will not change when it is transferred from one point to the another point along the same line of action. What do you mean by line of action? If any line passing through a force, we call that one as line of action. So, through the figure, we can understand the concept of principle of transmissibility of forces. Here, the force is acting on the left side of the box. Here, the force is acting on the right side of the box. But both are equal when the force is acting along the same line of action. Like it here also, L shape as well as on the circle. The next content is Newton's laws. How many Newton's laws are there? Is it 3? No. With respect to the motion, we have only 3 laws, but Newton gave so many laws. So, let us talk about the Newton's laws with respect to motion. In that first law states, the state of the body will not change until and unless it is expressed by the external force. In simple words, we can say the body which is at rest or in motion will continue in its state till, unless and until the external force is applied on it. The second law states the rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force acting on it. Through this second law statement, we can derive the equation F is equal to m into A. The third law states for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The next content is parallelogram law of forces. It states if two forces are acting at a point, then their magnitude and direction can be represented by the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram. If the two forces are acting at a point, then their magnitude and direction can be represented by the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram vectorially, and their resultant is represented by the diagonal of the parallelogram which passes through the point of intersection of two forces. This is regarding the statement. Now, let us derive the equation. For that proof, now consider two forces F1 and F2 acting at a point. Let the angle between the two forces be theta. If OACB will be the parallelogram as shown in the figure, with OB represents F1 and OA represents F2. Proceed OB and OC will be the resultant. Proceed OB to D and drop a perpendicular CD to OD. According to the parallelogram law of forces, the OC will represent the resultant R. From the let the angle between the two forces be theta, and angle of the resultant with respect to the horizontal, let it be alpha. Since OA line and BC lines are parallel, it will make the same angle with respect to same reference. Now, from the triangle BCD, that is BCD, from this triangle, we can write sin theta as opposite side by hypotenuse side, that is CD divided by BC. Therefore, CD will become BC into sin theta, that is BC is nothing but BC is parallel to OA. We can write that one as F2 into sin theta. Cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse side, that is BD divided by BC. Therefore, BD will be written as BC into cos theta, that is BC is parallel to the OA. So, we can write that one as F2 into cos theta. Now, from the triangle OCD, we can write that one as, since it is a right angle triangle, we can write that one as hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the squares of the other two sides, that is OC square equal to OD square plus CD square. OD square, we can write that one as, since OD is equal to OB plus BD, we can write that one as OB plus BD whole square. Then expand the equation, it is A plus B whole square, it will become A square plus B square plus 2AB. Then OC is represented by R, write it. OB is represented by F1 and BD is represented by BD, we can write that one as F2 cos theta, so write that one. Then CD, we can write that one as F2 sin theta. Substitute all the things. Then we can take cos square, we can take F2 square common, we left out with cos square theta plus sin square theta, that is equal to 1. So, we will get the equation R square is equal to F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta. So, take the square root, it will become R is equal to square root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 into cos theta. That is the magnitude of the resultant. Next, the inclination of the resultant with respect to horizontal is alpha. Therefore, tan alpha is equal to opposite by adjacent, that is opposite side is CD and adjacent side is OD. OD can be written as OB plus BD. Then CD is nothing but F2 sin theta, then OB is nothing but F1, then BD is nothing but F2 cos theta. Keep the alpha this side, then move the tan function from LHS to the RHS, it will become alpha equal to tan inverse of F2 sin theta divided by F1 plus F2 cos theta. This will be the direction of the resultant. So, this is the derivations regarding parallelogram law of forces, and it is applicable when only two forces are acting at a point. Next we will come to the polygonal law of forces. It says if a number of concurrent forces are acting simultaneously on a body, if a number of concurrent forces are acting simultaneously on a body and are represented in magnitude and directions by the sides of the polygon, and this will be represented as magnitude and direction by the sides of the polygon taken in the order, then the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction, by the closing side of the polygon taken in the opposite order. Okay, this is regarding polygonal law of forces. I will repeat once again. If a number of concurrent forces are acting simultaneously on a body and are represented in magnitude and direction by the sides of the polygon taken in the order, then the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon taken in the opposite order. So, let us move on to the next concept, resolution and composition of forces. What do you mean by resolution? Splitting a single force into two or more components, we call that one as resolution. For example, consider a force. If we split that into two components, it will become horizontal component of F, that is Fx, vertical component of F, that is Fy. What do you mean by composition? Combining of all the forces to form a single force, whose effect is equivalent to algebraic sum of the effects produced by all the forces, is known as composition. That single force, we call that one as resultant. For example, consider several forces are acting at a point, then we are going to combine all these forces to form a single force whose effect will be equal to the effect produced by all the forces. That is the composition concept. Next we have resultant of coplanar concurrent force system. We come to know resultant, that is a single force whose effect will be equal to the effect produced by all the forces on a body. Coplanar, same plane. Concurrent, all the forces are meeting at a single point. Force system, several forces. Now, we have the different instances. In the resultant of coplanar concurrent force system, if we come to the resultant, we come across magnitude and direction of the resultant. When only two concurrent forces are acting at a point, then the magnitude R is given by square root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 into cos alpha. Then direction of the direction is given by alpha is equal to tan inverse of F2 sin theta divided by F1 plus F2 cos theta. Then if any number of forces are acting, we will get R is equal to square root of Fx square plus Fy square, then theta is equal to tan inverse of Fy divided by Fx, where R will be the magnitude of the resultant, then theta will be the direction of the resultant. Then we have moment of forces and couple. What do you mean by moment of force? The rotational effect produced by the body with respect to the applied force, we call that one as moment of a force. For example, consider a body written in the black line. We are going to apply the force at the end, then this black line or the body is going to rotate with respect to the applied force. That rotational effect produced by this body with respect to the applied force is known as a moment of a force. So, the applied force is F, and the point about which the body is going to rotate, we call that one as moment center. The distance between, the perpendicular distance between the moment center and the line of action of the force, we call that one as D. So, Moment of a force can be mathematically written as moment equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force into perpendicular distance between moment center and line of action of the force. In short, we can write that one as m is equal to F into d. What do you mean by couple then? We know that couple means two. Couple means a pair or two. So, here we are talking about the forces. So, couple means we need minimum of two forces. Two parallel forces equal in magnitude, opposite in direction and separated by some distance will form a couple, like as illustrated in the figure. There are two parallel forces and they are having the equal magnitude, acting in the opposite direction and separated by some perpendicular distance will form a couple. Mathematically, it is written as couple moment equal to force into perpendicular distance between two forces which will form the couple. So, in short, we can write that one as m is equal to F into d. The next most important concept is Varignan's theorem. Sometimes it is also known as principle of moments or Varignan's principle of moments. The statement is as follows. If a number of coplanar forces are acting simultaneously on a particle, the algebraic sum of the moments of all the forces about any point is equal to the moment of their resultant force about the same point. This whole statement can be written in the equation. I will tell you here. M means moment, R means resultant, O means any point, F means a force. So, moment of the resultant about any point is equal to algebraic sum of the moment of all the forces about the same point. We call that one as Varignan's theorem or principle of moments. Here we have the derivation. Let us prove that one. Now consider a force F represented by the line AB as shown in the figure vectorially. Now consider a point O arbitrarily. Now join OA and OB. Draw a perpendicular OC on AB line. Now moment of the force F about the O point is given by, we know that moment is equal to force into distance. So it will become force into distance. Here the force is represented by AB and the distance is represented by OC. So multiply and divided by 2. Now take the numerator 2 outside, it will become 1 by 2 into AB into OC, where AB is the base, OC is the height. So it will become half into base into height. So we write that one as moment of F about O is equal to 2 times the area of the triangle AOB. This is the first part. Let us move on to the second part of the derivation. Now consider a parallelogram OACB. Let P and Q are the two forces acting at O represented by adjacent side of the parallelogram OACB. Let OC represents the resultant R of the forces P and Q. Produce the line AC up to O dash and join O dash to O and O dash to B. Therefore, area of the triangle O dash OC will be equal to area of the triangle OO dash A plus area of the triangle OAC. Then the area of the triangle OAC will be equal to area of the triangle OBC in the parallelogram. Let us write that one. OAC will be equal to OBC. Then we have the area of the triangle OBC will be equal to area of the triangle OO dash B. So let us write that one. Then we can multiply by 2 on both sides. It will become 2 times the area of the triangle O dash OC equal to 2 times the area of the triangle O dash A plus 2 times the area of the triangle O dash OB. From the first part we know that 2 times the area is nothing but that will be the moment of the force in the triangle about the point. So in the triangle O dash OC we have the resultant R, so it will become moment of the R about the O dash. Then in the triangle OO dash A we have the force Q, then OO dash B we have the force P. So we can write that one as moment of R about O will be equal to moment of P about O dash plus moment of Q about O dash. Thus Vergnen's theorem is proved. Let us come to the next concept, resultant of coplanar non-concurrent force system. In simple words we can say, if several forces are acting on the same plane but acting at different points, we call that one as coplanar non-concurrent force system. What will be the resultant for this one? Here the resultant is represented by 3 things. One is the magnitude, direction and position. The magnitude R equal to square root of fx square plus fy square. The direction theta is equal to tan inverse of fy divided by fx, and the position is given by the perpendicular distance, that is equal to sigma m by r, x intercept that is equal to sigma m by sigma fy, y intercept y that is equal to sigma m divided by sigma fx, where sigma m is equal to moment of all the forces about the required point, where L is the perpendicular distance to the resultant, x is the x intercept, y is the y intercept. Thank you.